Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick here, dropping in on you. I'm going to be real quick. I just want to let everybody know that on April 8th, we are releasing book number 26. Right now, the most powerful book on elevation. It's entitled Transcendent, the remarkable ability to rise above the chaos to win in life. You do not want to miss this. This is by far my best installment on human performance. I am challenging you to rise. I am giving you insight on how to do it. Here's your chance to do it now. Hello, everybody. It is Thursday. That means it's Thankful Thursday. I want to thank everybody for dropping in. As you saw right there, we are moving in and closing in on the release date for my 26th book, which I'm extremely proud of. It is entitled Transcendent, the remarkable ability to rise above chaos to win. And I want to offer you an opportunity to pre-order it and get it for basically $10 off, $9.99 off of the release price. The link is in the description box. Also, if you heard me say this, seems like a million times. If you don't have at least two independent streams of income through which you can hedge your primary source of income, you are playing with your financial future. The internet, social media, and so many other opportunities that are now availing themselves offers all the opportunity you need to create online presence and earn money. And new technology is advancing it. There's so many different ways to go. And I teach that in my 7-day online business course. The link is in the description box. Finally, if you want to work with me, today is your day. For today, this is the last day. It goes back to regular price. But if you want to work with me for 12 weeks, that's 12 sessions with yours truly, it's half price now. So instead of $3,500, $1,750, and that's 12 sessions of literally breaking down assessments, DISC assessments, personality assessment, goal assessment, where you are now, where you need to go, plan, strategic development and planning, looking at issues all the way back to childhood, if necessary, that may be blocking you from taking the steps that you need to take. If you have sit up and you've looked and you know there's something better for yourself, if you know there's something that you should be doing beyond what you're doing, but you can't seem to get out of a rut, there's a reason for it. Nobody is in a situation where less than the best is their lot in life. Poverty is not your lot in life. Suffering and struggling is not your lot in life. Being in abusive relationships is not your lot in life. Having to work a job you hate is not your lot in life. There are so many different ways and opportunities to move, but you have to be aware of who you are first, and then be willing and confident enough to move and have an ability to assess situations and take advantages of opportunities in life. George Bernard Shaw says, those who get on in this world are those who go out in the world every day and create the circumstances they need. If those circumstances don't exist, they create them. It's that simple. So that's that. So those three links are in the description box. Avail yourselves. Today, I'm excited. Today is Thankful Thursday. And I'm going to talk to you about three questions that every person should be asking themselves and aware of. You are actually answering these questions every day, whether you know it or not. But you need to be aware of these questions so that when you are in a situation, you can ask yourself what you're going to do. Have the answer to these three questions. It determines the outcome of your life. You literally can change the quality of your life by understanding these three questions. I did not create these three questions. The first time I heard these three questions was from Jim Rohn years ago. I know that his star pupil, Tony Robbins, uses the same questions. I've heard Les Brown use them. I've heard a number of others who are successful, and any psychiatrist, psychologist should understand the dynamic. They may not ask the questions in the same way. They may not teach in the same way, but there's something that you should understand. I'm going to give you three questions, and I'm going to tell you why those three questions are important. And I want you to write them down. I want you to pay close attention, because it's these three questions that's going to govern the outcome of your life. The first question is, what are you going to focus on? What are you going to focus on? How many times have you heard me say, what you focus on, you feel? It's because what you focus creates feeling. Whatever you focus on is going to tantalize the emotions based off of what you see. Now, there's some other things we're going to get to, but what you focus on, you feel. What are you choosing to focus on? Why is that so important? Because there's going to be more than one thing happening in your life at any given time. In each thing that's happening, there are going to be multiple elements and components of that thing that's happening. So even in the most negative situation, there's something positive in it. But if you focus on the negative, you are going to create negative emotions, negative feelings. You're going to take yourself in a place that's going to produce a cyclical process of thoughts that reproduce what you don't want to have in your life. So ultimately, you decide what you're going to focus on. Yesterday, I made a post from something I heard from Quincy Jones a long time ago. He said when somebody asked him how did he manage the problems associated with growing up doing Jim Crow, when most Black musicians and artists had to travel a chitlin circuit. They weren't allowed to play in the mainstream theaters and arenas and things like that. And Quincy said, I don't have problems. The question was presented, come on, Quincy, everybody has problems. Quincy said, no, I don't have problems. I have puzzles. And what does that mean? Quincy's taking the thing that everybody faces, not the same way, not the same situation, but he's looking at it differently. Everybody has situations in their lives that are unfavorable. Everybody has situations in their lives that are producing things that they don't want. And most people are calling them problems. Quincy, by simply changing the way he views the situation, changes how he perceives it, changes how he responds to it, changes his entire mindset and emotional state. When I see a problem, if I identify it as a problem, if I'm not careful, I will focus on the problem. But Quincy says I have puzzles. Well, immediately, the moment you say puzzle, the first thing that comes to mind is solve it. So if I don't see a problem, I see a puzzle, the immediate move is to solve the puzzle. And it automatically tells me that puzzles are meant to be solved. So there is a solution. By simply changing it, what do I need to do to solve this puzzle? So immediately I'm focusing on what? The solution. So since I'm focusing on solution, there's an anticipation of solving. If there's an anticipation of solving, there's an emotion, a vibration, a frequency that is higher than if I see it as a problem and I start to see the darkness of it. We're talking about a difference of anywhere from 250 to 400 hertz in frequency and vibration changes by determining what I'm going to focus on. Am I going to focus on the problem? I'm going to focus on solution. So even if I see it as a problem, I can either focus on the problem or I can focus on the solution. Whatever it is, I'm going to choose what I focus on. Here's one. Do you focus on, and this is a question you obviously don't have to answer here. This is something I want to ask you. Do you focus on what you have, of what's lacking in your life, or what's missing in your life, or what you wish you had? Do you focus on what you have, or do you focus on what you don't have? Now, why is that? Because remember, focus equals feeling. So what am I saying? Whatever you focus on, you feel. So if I'm focusing on what I have, I'm going to have a tendency to be appreciative. I'm going to have a tendency to be thankful, to be grateful. I'm going to see the positive things in my life, and I'm going to have a different state of mind. I'm going to be easily primed into a positive mindset, which I start my day with every day. Why? Because how I start my day is going to determine how well I move through my day. If I start with a sense of lack, if I start with a sense of emotional disruption because I'm focusing on all the things that aren't right, I'm focusing on the things that aren't lining up the way I want them to. And trust me, if you're striving for anything great, if you're striving for something beyond average, you're going to have challenges, you're going to have setbacks, you're going to have frustrations, you're going to have delay. All that stuff is a part of it. But if I focus on that things, I start to become disgruntled. I start to become frustrated. I start to look at it, and then I start going, why me? Oh, woe is me. Man, why that person? It seems like that person is doing so good. Why am I? But what you got to understand is nobody's taking your journey. You are. And that you got to understand that some of the things that are worth having on the other side of pain, on the other side of fear, on the other side of frustration, on the other side of that delay, you got to be willing to stay in it. But if your mindset is focused on the negative, you're going to do what? You're going to put it down. Then you're going to be disgruntled. Then you're going to be in a bitter mood. Then you're going to have jealousy and envy and strife because you're going to feel some other people are getting on and you're not. The way that you get on, George Bernard Shaw, you heard me say this, George Bernard Shaw said that Those who get on in this world are those who what? Go out into the world and find the circumstances and the situations and the opportunities that they need. If they don't exist, they create them. That is it. It isn't about well, it's just not fair. Let me tell you something. Life isn't about fair. Life has never been about, it's not about fair. Some people are going to have head starts. Some people are going to have privileges you don't have. Some people are going to have access to things you don't have access. Some people are going to gain the favor of people in power before you do. What you've got to understand is that you have a destiny assigned to you by God and revealed to you in your purpose by way of your gifting, and that can't be taken away from you. There's not a man or a woman or a force on this planet that can rob you of your purpose. The only one that can stop your destiny is you, and that's by putting it down and laying over and playing the victim. You're going to have to learn how to focus on the thing that lifts you. Focus on the thing that encourages you. Focus on the things that give you a sense of anticipation and hope. You've got to focus on what is going to open up the gate for you. You're going to give your attention to something, and what you give your attention to is what you're going to give power to. If I'm focusing on the problem long enough, it becomes so huge that it overwhelms me, and I no longer even see a way out of it. So then I start to identify with the problem. And then it becomes a part of me. The first thing out of my mouth every time I come up to somebody, I'm talking about the problem. It gets to people don't even want to talk to me. People stop answering the phone. Why? Because all he's going to do is talk about the problem. What are you choosing to focus on? What are you going to focus on? That's the first thing you got to decide, because what you choose to focus on is going to set your state. Every morning, before I do anything, the first word out of my mouth, before I even open my eyes good, is thank you. And guess what happens? God designed this unbelievable brain that responds how you tell it. Your brain is this supercomputer, right? Just imagine your brain being this supercomputer. It processes everything, but it's also this unimaginable Google. It's Google on steroids. Guess what it does? It processes over 4 billion bits of information per second on a subconscious level. Guess what happens when I say thank you? Guess what my brain automatically does? Start looking for reasons to be thankful for on a subconscious level. But guess what? If I wake up and say, oh, this is going to be a crappy day. Oh, man. Guess what the brain starts doing? Looking for all the reasons that why life is going to suck today. And guess what? It's going to put it in front of you. It's going to highlight it. And just like Google, if I go in right now and I type in 15 ways that businesses succeed. No, if I type in 15 ways that businesses fail, guess what Google is not going to show me? 15 ways that businesses succeed. But they're out there. So in other words, your brain is just like that. It's going to say, what are the search words? And if the search word is thank you, then the brain says, let me find all these reasons to be thankful. I'm still breathing. I'm still standing. If I'm still breathing, I'm still in the fight. I got another chance to go out and do something great today. I am in a place. I'm blessed. I wonder how many people didn't get this blessing today. And that's just to start. What are you focusing on? The second thing is, what does it mean? What does you, what is it you're focusing on? Now that you know what you're focusing on, what does it mean to you? Because when you apply meaning to it, that's going to create also an emotion. Meaning equals emotion. So if I look at something and I'm focusing on it, what does it mean to me? That's the framing of something. That's the context. How are you going to frame it? That's why you can get multiple people going through the same thing and coming out with different results and seeing it different. Why? People frame things different. You got the optimist, you got the pessimist, you've got the person who's pretty balanced. But what are you going to see? How are you going to? It's in other words, what meaning are you? If you see it, does it mean something good is going to happen? Does it mean something bad is going to happen? Does it mean I'm in a good position to make a move today? Does it mean that I can't be stopped? What does it mean to you? The thing you're focusing on. See, if you're focusing on the positive things, it's going to bring to you an easy way to frame it into something positive. What does it mean to you? Because what does it mean? What it means is going to set your course. It's going to tell you how you're going to handle the situation, which is question number 3. Question number 3 is, what are you going to do? So what are you going to do with what you see, what you have, what you focused on has created your current reality. The meaning you give it determines how you process it, how you respond to it. So what are you going to do? Are you going to take action? Are you going to sit back and hope things change? Are you going to sit back and say it's good enough where it is? What are you going to do with what you see, what you've given meaning to? What are you going to do? This is the thing. Most people keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. It starts with your focus. What am I focusing on? If you have trained yourself to focus on the negative, all you're going to see around you is negative. You're not just going to see the negative in your life. You're going to start to see the negative in other people. You're going to become cynical. You're going to become this person that only sees what's going wrong. And eventually, anybody that's trying to climb and elevate themselves are going to be put off by you because your frequency is off. Your vibration is off. And when I say frequency and vibration, I'm not talking in some mystical terms. I'm talking in the fact that literally every thought you have has the capacity to produce a certain state of thinking that produces a certain level of energy emission. You are literally emitting energy based off of your current state. You can emit, and it's measured on a Hertz scale. When you're in a state, in a low state, and when I consider low states is anger, envy, jealousy, strife, bitterness, hurt, all of these, sadness, all of these things are 250 hertz or lower. So your frequency is at 250 hertz. That means you have a very low vibration. That means that what you're putting off has a negative feel to it. You make people uncomfortable and you don't even know why. Then gratitude. I told you I start my day with gratitude. Thank you is the first word out of my mouth. Guess what? I immediately place myself at 500 hertz. I've doubled my frequency. If I were on a low level, I try to wake up positive. I try to dream positive. I try to do everything. I try to do as much as I can to feed my mind positivity. And I'm going to tell you why in a moment. But here's the thing. Just by saying thank you, I put myself at 500 hertz. Then I think about those I love. Love puts me at 600 to 650 hertz. Then I determine I'm going to discover and learn, and I put myself in a place to hear from God. That isn't an audible conversation at all. It's a direct connectivity that is in the purest state of who I am. I'm at the right place to touch God. And when I touch God, God speaks, and I don't mean audibly. It's a clarity beyond anything anybody can speak. But the problem is you hardly get people who hear it, because they're normally, when they decide to engage God, they're normally at 250 or lower. They're angry, they're upset, they're hurt, they're fearful. They're all these places. The frequency that puts them as far away from God. None of that stuff is of God. God has not given me a spirit of fear, but a power of love, of a sound mind. It presents me with discipline. It presents me with an ability to sit up and manage my situation without fear. So when I'm in that state, I can't be of God and connected to God when I'm operating outside of the design that God has created. I'm trusting my surroundings before I'm trusting my design. I'm trusting what my eyes are telling me beyond what my faith is speaking. It says, now faith is the substance of the things, and the faith is the substance of the certainty of the things hoped for. It is the proof or the evidence of the things I cannot see. So in other words, faith is activated in the moment where it's beyond my reason, where it's beyond my expectation, where it's beyond something that I can reasonably, but I know it's real. Why? Because faith said so. And then I understand that if I have direct linkage to the designer, if I have direct linkage to the creator, if I have direct linkage to the power source, and that the mind of God is stumped by nothing, then the answer is always present. That's a part of my meditation. Part of my meditation. The end of my meditation. Every day after I pray and meditate, the end of my spoken message, I speak this audibly out loud. This is the end of it. It just simply says, that I enjoy life for. Each day brings a constant demonstration of the power and the wonder of the universe and myself. I am confident. I am serene. I am sure. No matter what obstacle or undesirable circumstance crosses my path, I refuse to accept it, for it is nothing but an illusion. There can be no obstacle or undesirable circumstance to the mind of God, which is in me and around me and serves me now. And what it's reminding me that the mind of God knows all. I have access to the mind of God. Matter of fact, it's in my cellular makeup. I'm an extension of that. But the problem is, the more I move into this idea that I can use my situations and my circumstances to predict the outcome, I detach myself from the source and I start to operate on a lower sphere or a lower frequency. And I'm trying to resolve spiritual matters with a carnal mindset. I hope you can understand what I'm saying here. But when you sit up and you say, okay, I'm not going to attach myself to the circumstance, I'm going to attach myself to the source, then there's something inside of this spiritual part of me, the energy part of me, the part of me that has always existed and always will, the part that after body dies will continue on. There's a part of me that's connected, and that spirit will literally disagree with the circumstances. I used to say this all the time, and people used to look at me like I was crazy. I used to tell them, faith transcends facts. And I bring that out in that book, Transcendent. Faith transcends facts. Do you ever wonder how people do things that were once considered impossible? Faith transcends fact. Fact is what you can sit up and you can put your hand on and say, okay, that's right there. Faith says I can trump that. Faith says there's no way a man is ever going to be able to fly like a bird. Well, Orville and Wilbur chose to differ. Faith says no person will ever run the mile in under 4 minutes. Roger Bannister said, I'm going to challenge that. Faith says there's no way you're going to sit up and talk to somebody in another city using this crazy little device connected to a wall. Not only did faith say we're going to do that, faith says we're going to take it a step further and we're going to use cellular and satellite technology, and we don't even need the cord to plug into the wall anymore. Faith says so many things. I'm sitting here and you're watching me on something that someone said was absolutely impossible 30 years ago. It is absolutely imperative that you understand these 3 questions are driving you each and every day. What are you choosing to focus on? What does it mean? And what are you going to do? That's going to set the course of your life. What are you focusing on? A lot of us are focusing on things that actually at the end of the day don't even have any real bearing, but we're giving it so much of our energy, so much of our time. Some of us are focusing on what other people think. So many people are focusing on other people's opinion. Stop allowing someone else's opinion of you to determine your destiny. Stop allowing someone else's opinion of you to determine how you feel about yourself. Stop allowing someone else's opinion of you to set the course of your life. God gave you your purpose. God gave you your destiny. God gave you your gift. It only has to be validated the moment that you sit up and it was placed inside of you. God ordained it at that time. Think about what God told Jeremiah. When Jeremiah first received his orders, Jeremiah said, but I'm just a youth. God said, no, don't say that. Don't say I'm just a youth, because before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. And I ordained you at that moment, before you were ever conceived, before anybody ever knew you were coming. You already had a purpose. I gave it to you. It's ordained. It's validated. Nobody else has to co-sign it. Stop thinking you need somebody else to acknowledge the gift in you, the special gifting, the special nature of who you are. Start leaning into it. Start being who God designed you to be. Start standing up and squaring your shoulders. Start focusing on the positive. Lay the negative to the side. It'll take care of itself. And I'm telling you this not from some super platform of perfection. I'm telling you this because I've walked it. The things that I've accomplished in my life, they didn't come with ease. They came with nothing but challenge. challenge from people, challenge from situations and circumstances. But I told you, I got a connection to the source. So I constantly run into circumstances that my spirit just refused to agree with. I see it. I don't know how many times I've been told by friends, you're in denial. No, I'm already looking ahead and seeing in my mind the outcome of this thing. I understand that I can literally write a narrative of my future, walk into it and fit it, and that vision becomes a part of my reality. God designed my mind and my brain to not be able to distinguish between what I imagine and what's real. So then I can rewrite a narrative in my imagination, make it my reality, and walk into it. He says, calling things that are not as though they were. So you shall declare a thing and it shall be established for you. You have to understand that you're literally writing the narrative of your life by what you focus on, what you speak. What is your self-talk reflecting about your current situation? Look, how you live this life is up to you. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that it's going to be a life of ease. You're going to claim that you have faith and everything is just going to fall down. You're going to claim you walk in the light of a purpose and things are going to change. You're going to learn how to manage your emotions and elevate your frequency, and things are just going to roll over. No, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you that everything worth having is on the other side of fear, on the other side of pain, on the other side of delay, on the other side. But I'm telling you, when you get over there, you're going to find that everything you fought for is worth it. Everything you decide to stand up and live is worth it. But what you cannot do is take the design that you have been given and squander it, because you're going to be held accountable by the designer for what you did with the design. And let me tell you, no matter how you see God, I'm not here to tell people how to see God. That's a personal journey. And it's going to be a personal relationship. One of the biggest problems I think we have is everybody's trying to relate to God the way someone else tells them to. And if you can't feel that connection, you feel like you're left out. You better find God, real close, intimate, and personal. And here's the thing. No matter what faith you claim, when you find God, that's just a way you walk. There are some things nobody has to tell you not to do anymore. There are some things that no one has to tell you to start doing. It's natural. It comes in you. So let me put it like this, and then I'm done. You don't want to disappoint the designer by failing to live at the level of your design, by failing to produce the things that you were sent here to do. You've heard me say this, I don't know how many times. God is never going to deliver you from the giant he sent you to slay. So you can stop yelling, screaming, praying, hollering, and all that about there are some things you were meant to come here and confront. There are some people that are waiting on you to break through your valley moment, so it gives them permission to move through theirs. There are some people that are looking at you to see how you dealt with your childhood trauma, to know that they can make it through theirs. There are some people that need to see you build your business out of nothing, because they are watching, because they need to know you may be that trailblazer. You don't get to walk away from that. And finally, God doesn't deal in mediocrity. God doesn't deal in average. Anything that's producing average is someone that stepped outside of the full force of their dynamic and their design. I'm not saying you're going to have a perfect life. I'm not saying everything you do just shines. I'm saying that there's a standard about you, the way you move. Even when you're in a valley moment, people see the beauty of your design. They see the force of your faith. They understand something's awesome about it. Something awesome is about to happen. Even your down moments are up moments, because you're walking in your purpose. Let me say that again. Even your down moments are up moments, because you're walking in your purpose. I remember this testimony. Not a testimony, it's a real quick experience. I know I said I was done, but I want you to hear this. At the time I was going through the most difficult time in my life, I had a friend who was at a distance, and they kept up with me, and they knew what I was going through, and they did the best they could to be there for me. And then one day I asked them something. I said, in this moment that I'm in, I feel so much weight and I'm so frustrated, but I stand every moment and I fight. But I look at you and you treat me with such reverence and respect. And knowing my story, knowing where I'm at in my life, you treat me with this respect. And that person's response was, because I'm not dealing with you or handling you on where you're at. I'm handling on you on who you are and where you're going. And then they followed it up with, as a person who has always considered myself to be a person of faith, watching you walk this has challenged me to up my faith game. That's why you don't get to walk away from it, because somebody needs to see you move through it. That's the challenge. Look, as I said when I started, if you want to work with me, there's an opportunity to do that in the description box. Today only, it's half off. There's also a link that you can order my 26th book, Transcendent, The Remarkable Ability to Rise Above Chaos to Win, and an opportunity to take the course that I created to show you how to start an online business. All that's in the description box. As I get ready to leave, I'm going to tell you something I always tell you, and I want to really give you an understanding of why I say this. I always close out by saying I live my life on full so that when I leave this place, I die on E. What does it mean? One of my mentors, I got a chance to meet and communicate with subsequently after I met him, Dr. Miles Monroe. He once said that the wealthiest place on the planet is the cemetery, the graveyard, the place where people are buried. So many dreams are buried there. So many visions are buried there. So many businesses that weren't started. So many books that weren't written. So much potential that was never activated and actualized. And I made up in my mind that I wasn't taking any of what God gave me to the grave. So when I say I'm living my life on full so that I don't die on E, it means every day I'm going to wake up and I'm going hard in the paint. When I hit the bed at night, it's not hard getting to sleep. You know why? Because I done gave that day everything I have, and I need to hit that bed so that I can rejuvenate, I can recover, and I can replenish the things that I've spent out of myself that day so I can go do it the next day. No matter when I leave this place, I'm going to leave with having spent, that's 86,400 seconds in a day. How you spend that will determine the outcome of your life. What are you giving your 86 for to? Look, on that note, look, I'm going to get ready to get out here. I want to thank you, Tammy, Tanisa. It's always great to see you. Ryan Turner, what's up, man? Life is only going to give you what you come and get. Nobody's going to knock on your door with opportunities. You're going to have to go out and get them. What you focus on, you will feel. How you respond to it is going to determine the outcome. On that note, I'm out of here. I want to really appreciate everybody that stopped in. Share it. If you're on my YouTube channel, you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Love on somebody today. Find a way to bless somebody. If it's only with a kind word, take time to stop. I love to do it with people I don't know. You know, it's easy to call somebody you love and say, I love you. But when you stop and you spend just an extra 2 minutes with someone and you don't know what they're going through. That's my challenge. Love on somebody today. On that note, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable remainder of your day. Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Rick dropping in on you. Not going to be long. Look, you've heard me say this a million times. If you don't have at least 2 independent streams of income through which you hedge your primary source of income to protect you against catastrophic loss in that area, you are missing an opportunity to ensure your long-term financial security. I have created the 7-day online business launch course, which is a formula I use to reestablish myself online. It works over and over again. I've used it over and over again. Now I'm challenging you to take advantage of it. Click the link, learn more about it, enroll, and let's get started.